Welcome, folks, to the Once Blue, Always Blue Geneva FFA podcast. I'm Max Cruz, your host today. Here we are going to explore into the world of agriculture. Today's going to be a good day. Yes, my friends, we're going to change things up. I'm going to interview an ag teacher. That's right, our guest with us today is Michael Vann, ag teacher, FFA advisor at Geneva High School. He is also a graduate of Geneva High School, as I will be in just a few days. Mr. Vann, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Mad Max.
I have a few questions for you if you're ready.
Yes, sir.
Starting off, how many years have you been teaching here at Geneva High School?
Mad Max, this is starting my 10th year, June the 1st, here at Geneva High School.
What made you become an ag teacher?
Well, actually, whenever I was in high school, my ag teacher was Mr. Joe Parrish. And, well, Mr. Parrish, I remember when I was in school, he was the longest tenured teacher in Alabama's history at one time at over 50 plus years. But I enjoyed just being around it. Mr. Parrish knew I had an interest in being an ag teacher. When I was in high school, he actually went with me. Him and his wife did to Auburn University. And I was, had my heart in at a young age. I was wanting to be an ag teacher. Well, life happens. And one day my mother was diagnosed with cancer, and had to take another, road in life. And to make a long story short, I went to work and finally got back in school years later, and I went to school at night. And one day my teacher at Wallace College, my electrical instructor, Mr. Jess Green, had contacted me, asked me if I'd come help him teach at night. And I told him I didn't know nothing about no teaching. And he told me, well, you know the material and stuff, and you know your skills, try to give them back to the people in the community. And I told him I would. Well, I rocked on there. I taught part-time at night for 6+ years, and I had moved up at Reliable Products to a manufacturing engineer. And I would have kept helping Jess Green. They didn't have to pay me. I just enjoyed my teacher so much that it was just an honor to get to help him teach. Well, in 2008, when the economy crashed, we had 800 plus people at Reliable, and we laid off over 400. Wallace College come calling and won't know if I'd consider actually coming to teach full time because my old instructor was retiring, and I did enjoy teaching, and that's where it began for me. Full-time teaching was at Wallace. And I rocked on there 6+ years. I was teaching over there at Wallace day and night. I actually spoke to my former football coach and my science teacher, Mr. Ricky Bennett. Mr. Ricky Bennett had spoke to me about trying to bring me home to teach ag here, and I told him that, I didn't know about that, because, I was teaching over there, just didn't know about teaching with the youngsters and all. But Mr. Bennett told me something that really stuck with me. He's like, well, you're trying to help so many folks over, the Wiregrass area. Why don't you come home and, try to help these students here, in your old backyard, your old alma mater. And so, Max, that's where it began on that day. And Mr. Bennett actually, was one that hired me over here, and I've been teaching ag going on for 10 years.
I know you've had a great career, but have you had any regrets so far being an ag teacher?
Mad Max, I'm sure all teachers probably got some regrets if you ask them. And I have one that probably most teachers would agree with me on, and that's as a teacher not be able to reach some students. What I mean by that is there's some students, you could do cartwheels, you could talk to them, it doesn't matter until you blue in the face. You do everything in your power, try to convince them not to go down those certain paths or not to act, like a coconut and do certain things. But, they still wind up doing it, and that really, I hate that so bad that, wish that, all would listen. Not that I know everything by no means. I'm just an old dumb country bumpkin, but there's, I am a little bit older and stuff, and you just hate it that, again, that's one of my worst regrets is not be able to reach every student that I would like to.
Folks, we have to take a break and give a shout out to our sponsors. Hold on, we'll be right back, so don't go anywhere.
Friends, if you're looking for some good folks to help with your taxes, then you need to see the tax professionals. That's right, the tax professionals right here in Geneva, Alabama. Miss Angie and the folks are awesome. Tell them the Geneva FFA sent you. Folks, for all your pharmacy needs, you need to swing by and visit Gilstrap Drugs. Gilstrap Drugs has been a staple for many years in this community. Michael and Melinda Booth are good people. They will take care of all your pharmacy needs. Another one of our great sponsors is Friend Bank. Friend Bank is proud to support farmers who are looking for startup capital, equipment loans, or maybe just planning ahead, like our future farmers of America at Geneva High School. Friend Bank, banking true to you, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Folks, if you're looking for a good insurance company that can take care of all your insurance needs, such as life, health, and auto insurance, you need to contact Bert Lawson at Alpha Insurance right down the road here in Geneva, Alabama. You know I like good people, and Bert Lawson is a very good guy. Plus, Alpha Insurance is a big supporter of the FFA. Folks, Lytle Bay Meat Company is a custom meat company specializing in beef, pork, and deer processing. So take a short cruise right down the road from good old Geneva High School to Lytle Bay Meat Company and let them take care of all your meat processing needs.
Come on down to C&M Grocery for all your discount grocery needs. Come see us Tuesday through Friday from 9 to 5 at 301 West Maple Avenue, Geneva, Alabama, and tell them the FFA sent you. Folks, we're back, and I'm your host, Max Cruz, and we're still here with Mr. Vann from Geneva High School. Mr. Vann, there may be some folks out there who don't have a clue what FFA is. Can you explain in your own words what FFA means to you?
Yes, sir. To me, FFA, which it's the National FFA organization, is one of the largest student organizations that makes a positive difference in the lives of students. Students, Max, had the opportunity for leadership, personal growth, and career success through education. When I was in FFA, I learned how to tie a tie. I learned how to be a better speaker. I learned how to use tools and to build things. I learned to be a leader by being an FFA officer. At Max, there are so many opportunities in FFA that allow students to get involved, such as ag mechanics, ag construction, small engines, floriculture, poultry, land, livestock judging, string band, quartet, speaking competitions, and many other opportunities that allows a student to get involved. We also have proficiency awards that showcase what a student does outside of the school. Yes, I have a passion for the FFA because I know what FFA did for me when I was in school, and I have seen how the FFA has opened so many doors for students out there that needs to find something to be involved in, and it means so much to them as well.
Mr. Vann, why do you think it's gotten so hard to find ag teachers?
Mad Max, you are correct on that. It has gotten hard. It's gotten real tough. I feel like an ag teacher is hands down one of the best jobs in the school system. I also think it's one of the most important because farming and forestry are two of the top 3 providers of jobs in Alabama the last time I saw. We all know that farming feeds America. I get to teach ag education, which is so important. I also get to teach hunter safety, forestry worker certification. I teach FFA, and I get to teach shops such as building products, welding, and electrical. Mad Max, it's getting tougher to find teachers, period. That's in all areas. We all have so many theories on why people are not wanting to go into teaching. Of course, people all agree that increased pay is always better, but me personally, there's other reasons. One reason that I believe why people are getting out of teaching is the stress. Now, don't get me wrong, the majority of folks out here have stressful jobs. I had a major stressful job before I went to teaching. I just don't think people realize the amount of stress that teachers have on them every day. I don't know if people actually have consulted with teachers to ask them what can be done to help, ease the large amount of stress they face daily. What can we do to help our teachers, period? We need to help our teachers so we can stop the trend of folks getting out of teaching. But that's just my thoughts, Max.
Mr. Vann, have you noticed a change in students since you were in school?
Yes, that's a good question. I would say probably one of the biggest differences that I've seen since when I was in school has been discipline. I know that whenever I was youngster and I was in school, I guess, was taught you knew how to act, when you left that school. I mean, there's no difference from when you was at home. We definitely didn't want no teacher or administrator or principal calling our home and telling us that, we'd gotten in trouble at school or anything, because when we got home, I can tell you my mother and my big mama, when I was a youngster, I'd get in trouble. They would, hey, go out there and get me a switch, and I'd bring back the smallest twig I could get, and they'd be, all hot. And I done cranked their tractor, and they went out there and come back with a tree limb, and they'd wear me out. But again, it was just different. I knew that when I got to school, I'd be well-mannered, be respectful. And I'm not saying we don't have that, all together, but, just saying that there is a difference in it from what I was younger, to what I see today with some students.
What would be your advice to someone who might be considering going into teaching?
I would tell them that teaching is one of the most rewarding jobs out there. You have an opportunity to affect so many students' lives in a positive way. Some students desperately need guidance. Mad Max, we need good teachers. I'm not saying I'm a good teacher by any means, Mad Max. I'm just saying we need good ones that want to teach for the right reasons and not just about the money. I believe that to be a teacher, you need 3 good traits. If you don't have these 3 traits, then maybe you need to go into basket weaving or something else. And the first trait that I believe that you should have is patience. Now, this is one, and I don't know if they're going to any stuff is help you in school, but I'm telling you, if you're not a patient person, good luck, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't think students is going to crank your tractor, you can think again. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. You have got to be a patient person. I am telling you. And the second trait that I would, say for somebody that's wanting to go into, teaching is you're going to have to have compassion. And what I mean by that is, for example, whenever I was in school, I had a couple of teachers. One was Miss Kathy Bennett. She was my math teacher, and she'd always tell us that she cared about us, and she would always talk to us, and she would help us before, after school, and she would tell us, why she was wanting to, because she wanted us to do good, and it meant so much. I had another English teacher that was Miss Carol Hammond, and she would always tell us, how much she cared about us, and she actually, when I did get back in college years later after I left high school, she'd always told me she would help me, and she did, and you appreciate that. You can tell when someone's fake, and those teachers like that, to have that compassion to help you, that goes a long way. And another example is Max talking about having compassion. Was another teacher I had was Mr. Joe Grant. When I was in high school, my mother was in the hospital and with cancer, and I was standing in the hallway one day, and Mr. Grant come walking in up there to see me, and it touched me so much. And he'd come to check on me, want to know if I was hungry, if I needed to get anything to eat, and said he'd been thinking about me, and I appreciate it. Even today, you appreciate that. You think about that stuff, especially when these teachers are compassionate, and then that's just another one of the traits. And a third trait that I think that for a teacher that I'd recommend if you're going to go in again to the field is you need to be willing to serve. And what I mean is, I guess you need to have a servant's heart. you're going to have to do stuff, spend extra hours working beyond just that, 7:30 to 3:30, whatever that schedule. I mean, there's so much other stuff that you're going to have to do this. Not on that scope of what that might be that subject what you're teaching, but you're going to have to be willing to to do and serve. But now that's just my advice. Again, I hope that more people would want to get involved with teaching, because again, it's been rewarding for me. That's just my advice, Max.
You've given us some good advice for future teachers, but what advice would you give to students who are about to graduate high school this year?
Man, Max, I would tell them that, first of all, they should have had their manners, but when they leave me and stuff, they need to have a good attitude, and they need to get some pea and vinegar in their blood, and they need to go to work. You got to get after it. You got to. I mean, I am serious. There's so much opportunities out there, Mad Max. There's more in my lifetime that I could ever imagine. I mean, if you got a good attitude and that work ethic's there, and I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. I mean, if you're going to go to college, dadgummit, don't be lazy. Go get after it. I mean, if you hungry, and I'm talking you hungry, you willing to do what it takes to make it happen, you'll do it. But again, I see it. I see some of these students that they leave me, and they're going to be all right because, hey, like I said, they got that pea and vinegar in their blood, and they're going to make it happen. And it's out there. The opportunities are boundless right now, and that's my advice.
You talk about being hungry and being a winner. That leads me to my next question. Who do you think is going to win the national championship this year in college football?
Well, Mad Max, this is probably one of the easiest questions that you've asked me all day. I think my Georgia Bulldogs is going to be a strong contender this year. I hoping so. Who do you feel like this year?
Well, since I have converted over to an Auburn fan now, I don't know if you know this, but I'm all in on the Tigers this year. So,
you are?
Or Eagle. You heard it here first.
Okay, Mad Max.
I lied. Roll Tide.
Go ahead.
Folks, that's going to wrap us up today. Mr. Vann, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Mad Max. I appreciate your time.
Maybe our listeners out there have learned something listening to you today. I also want to say a big thanks to our producer, Mr. Jack Simmons, my classmate. If you enjoyed what you heard today and like another Once Blue, Always Blue podcast, then go give us a shout out and tell us what you think. Go to YouTube, Apple, or Spotify and just enter the Once Blue, Always Blue Geneva FFA. You can catch our other episodes on Apple, Pandora, or YouTube. I am Max Cruz, and before I go, I just want to say thanks to all our FFA friends out there. Remember, my friends, today is going to be a good day.